Hey, it's you once again. Welcome everyone back to another review, and of course, I'm doing Jean-Claude Van Damme series, and of course, now I'm gonna review and talk about Universal Soldier: The Return, which is actually direct sequel to the first Universal Soldier, and it's actually going to be the first sequel I'm gonna review in Universal Soldier series, because so far there were actually six films, and two movies are actually direct for they were actually made for direct for I think was for television. They were made for direct for television, and this is actually the first theatrical movie that was released, and this is gonna be the last movie theatrical in Jean-Claude Van Damme been released until JCVD and later The Expendables 2. But this is direct sequel to the first Universal Soldier 1992, and I love the first Universal Soldier. I love the first Universal Soldier to death. I think many of people like the film. It's actually a classic. It's one of my personal favorite sci-fi action movies ever. I love the first one. Actually, it's my second favorite Van Damme film, but definitely my personal favorite film. It's a classic, and I said that the first Universal Soldier is actually a stand-up alone because none of those sequels can't hold a candle to the first one. But this was actually a very underrated JCVD movie of all time. Very, very underrated. Very was a box office flop. Was mauled by negative reviews, critics. They completely penned down this film, and they did. They actually then did the third and the fourth sequel, which they were actually alternate versions of the first movie, and they completely ignored this film. But I really had fun. I think that Universal Soldier 2: The Return is very underrated, very bashed film. I would say I had blast watching this film, much better than the Double Team or Knockoff or many of the direct-to-video movies that Van Damme did. I think it's much better than Derelite. I think it's much better film than Assassination Games. I think it's much better film than Double Team, because Double Team I had a few problems, but this movie was much better in my opinion, and was released in August 20, 1999, which was actually the first theatrical release after the huge success of the first one. Directed by Mick Rogers, which this was actually his first movie that he directed. It was his direction debut, and written by William Malone and John Fasano. They did a screenplay, and this movie is fast-paced. For 1 hour 23 minutes is a fast-paced. Much better than Double Team or Legionnaire. Much better than Legionnaire. I'll definitely say the most underrated 90s saga of Van Damme. Definitely the most underrated in my opinion. The most underrated film. The only one of all the six films that I do own when I review all my films that I own for Jean-Claude Van Damme, because I'm doing the movie series that I own for the actor, because he's one of my favorite action stars. He's my favorite action star, my favorite action hero, and I will review Universal Soldier 2: Brothers in Arms, and I'll review I think it's Regeneration and Days of Reckoning, because I'm a huge fan of Universal Soldier, especially the first one. This is the sequel, and like I said, this movie was a box office flop. It was a box office flop. It was the budget made was actually $45 million, but made only $10 million earned, and and of course the movie stars Michael J. White, who had a brief cameo role scene in the first Universal Soldier, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Heidi Shantz, Caris Paige Bryant, Sienna Tom, Xander Berkeley, Daniel von Bergen, and Bill Goldberg, who are starring in this film. And and of course in this movie the role of Romeo was actually first offered to Steve Stone Cold Austin, but when they asked the WWE superstars, that they actually first offered Steve Stone Cold Austin the role of Romeo, but his agent turned down the offer for the pay fee money, $55,000. And because his agent was not interested, the producers in the studio asked Bill Goldberg. They offered him the role of this character Romeo, Unisol, that soldier, and of course he gladly, he actually gladly accepted. Bill Goldberg gladly accepted for the money fee, $250,000, which is a fair offer in my opinion. It wasn't that much of money, but it was actually still a good choice for Bill Goldberg. And when Steve Stone Cold Austin found out that they turned the role for the movie that he would like to have a chance to star opposite Jean-Claude Van Damme, he went to Vince McMahon and he expressed his anger issues over him for doing that to him. But Bill Goldberg was actually an excellent choice in my opinion. And this is gonna be the last film that Jean-Claude Van Damme is gonna do the character that I love, because I'm a huge fan of Luke Devereaux. The first movie that he did, I love that Van Damme is still smiling. He still tries to be more human, tries to be more not like a dead zombie like was in the next sequels. He tries to be more sorry about that. He tries to be more human, the actor, the character tries to be more human. He still smiles and he still he has fun with doing this. It just shows that Jean-Claude Van Damme did stop using drugs, and he looks like that he still tries to return. Just like he did in the first movie, he tries to return to his roots, and he tries to use less stunt doubles, but because for the many the fight scenes I saw was Van Damme in it. It wasn't a stunt double. There are a few danger stunts that actually stunt double did step in for Van Damme, but most of the fight scenes did Van Damme himself, and that's what I appreciate by my favorite action star. And the movie talks about, before I continue, Luke also has a daughter. I don't mind it. I never minded because the girl, Carrie Page Bride, was not annoying. The little girl did not annoy me. This movie was fast-paced, only 1 hour, 23 minutes long. Much better than fucking Double Team, almost 1 hour, 40 minutes, way too long. This movie goes fast around. And there's still great scenes that I enjoy, that I had really ball with this movie. And of course, Ali Walker could not return for her character Veronica Roberts because of schedule conflict between her filming applications to the TV show Profiler, so she could not do that. She could not return for the sequel, so they actually did that. Her character is now dead, but they have a daughter, so that was kind of too bad. I think the picture that was not Ali Walker was when Van Damme's looking, that wasn't Ali Walker, it's a different actress, but that was kind of sad. But it didn't bother me because the action scenes really make the work this film. And like I said, Mick Rogers was the first time that he directed, and I think he did a good job directing this film. Now to the movie. In the opening scene, Luke Devereaux is now human once again. He used to be Unisol, but now he's a human again. He helps building on the project of Unisols by creating new generation of Unisouls, so they can step in, go into combat for young boys that losing their lives. Him and Dr. Dylan Kotner, played by Xander Berkeley from Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and 24 is in this movie. They actually created a superhuman computer named Seth, played by Michael J. White. He landed the voice for the computer, and this superhuman computer, he's actually controlling the Unisouls, and he's giving them orders, and they only answer to his orders. And that's what's awesome about this film. That's such a ball about this film. And the open scene, the first time see both action sequences which Van Damme and this actress, they actually both run. And Xiana Tom, she plays Maggie, the partner of Luke. They actually been chased by Unisouls on the boat, through the river, and that's really that's really ballsy to do that in this film. And I love that it's actually Stand Up Alone, and I love this film. I love Universal Soldier Do Return. I really had ball with this movie, much better than Double Team, and I love the boat chase sequence. Van Damme and Xiana Tom are being chased by Unisouls. I kind of forget, but I love the action in this river. And when they step off the boat, on the shore, they actually we see Van Damme and Maggie running through the woods. And this movie kind of feels like a slasher film, like a horror film. We see Van Damme in the woods being chased by Unisouls. Kind of feels like a horror film, in my opinion. If you watched Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives in the woods, that movie is a supernatural horror film, and this movie kind of looks like a horror film. It kind of looks like a horror film, so that was really cool and awesome for this film. But yeah, for the next, Van Damme and Maggie, they actually go and get lost. Maggie gets been captured by Bill Goldberg, who plays Romeo, and he ties her up, and said, now since your partner is dead, we hear gunshots, and he says we can have now fun, and he opens once to fuck her, and Luke shows up and kicks Bill Goldberg, grabs the gun and shoots him, with his rifle, shoots him. And Luke gets distracted by tits, and Maggie says, untie me. He tries to untie her, but there is actually a few soldiers, show up, and Bill Goldberg shows up, and they all attack him. They show Van Damme in the water, in the river, and they try to drown him, and when Maggie says stop, Seth stops the Unisouls, and he tells them to stop, and they help Luke to get up. The exercise is over, and that is the exercise. But I really had fun with it. Like they started with that action sequence. They actually started the film with an action sequence. They started with an action sequence, which that was awesome. And now in the facility of the Unisouls, when they actually make a new generation, the Pentagon, played by Daniel von Bergen, General Redford, he tells Luke that they are shutting down the program because of low budget. They actually shutting them down once again, for the low project, So Van Damme, Luke says you can do that, So you're gonna send young boys once again the battlefield to lose their lives. And yes, I know when Van Damme's character gets more, concerned, and he shows more emotions. I love that about Jean-Claude Van Damme, this movie, his character, Luke shows more emotion. And meantime, I talk. Meantime, the rest. Meantime, this young girl, news reporter, Erin Young, played by Heidi Shantz. Erin Young shows up, because she wants to find a new story, And when said superhuman computer finds out, that they want to shut his program down, he wants to live. He wants to survive. He wants to live. He gets out of control and he controls his Unisouls and he gives them order to take over the facility and kill everyone, including Luke, scientists, and everyone that stands in the path. And Seth uses this computer hacker named Squid to help him to design the body in which his brain's gonna be is actually gonna be built and transferred to a body. And Squid gives him a body, and that's Michael J. White. Michael J. White plays Seth, superhuman computer warrior who wants to live and wants to kill people, and he wants to live. And he also had a brief cameo scene in the first movie, in the open scene, when we see Luke in Vietnam, Luke and another black soldier with him running, in the jungle. That was actually Michael J. White. In this movie, Michael J. White, works with Van Damme. This movie, Michael J. White said that he worked with both the actors, Van Damme and Seagal, and he said that Van Damme is one of the most nicest guys he ever met. That the only bad things he did was he did to himself. But Seagal couldn't even do my gay. He said he couldn't do my gay, He couldn't do even correctly make a my gay kick, And I saw the interview with Michael J. White. And Michael J. White is one of the nicest guys. And I do think he is a martial artist and a good action star. And he plays Seth, and he gets transferred his brains in the body, played by him. Michael J. White's body, which is actually interesting in my opinion. And because now the soldiers are starting to kill the Unisouls are starting to kill the soldiers, and they declare war. While mostly the workers are actually evacuated from the center, from the Unisouls base center. They were actually evacuated. Bill attacks, Romeo attacks Maggie and Hillary, daughter of Luke, and the younger gets wounded. And Luke, of course, Maggie brings her to the hospital, but Luke has he's now still in the base and tries to escape, with Erin. And with a stab, because Erin wants to know what's going on, and she's making the story. She is going to make the story. And she sticks with Luke, and of course Bill Goldberg attacks. Bill Goldberg and Unisouls attacks all of them. And Van Damme's still a badass. He still goes kicks ass. Or that scene when Bill Goldberg grabs Maggie, falls down the stairs, and she's like, she sits like on the snow, just like she's like slides, and Bill Goldberg's head gets stuck in the wall. I like that. Van Damme still shows what he can do. Or one of the Unisouls gets out of control and Van Damme uses his martial arts, That wasn't the stunt, man. That was actually Van Damme doing his own stunt fights. And that's what Van Damme does, He still does spin kicks in this movie. And Erin and Luke now escape from the center, and they actually go to the striptease club in the computer, because Van Damme, Luke tries to find out what are actually next plans for Seth. What are actually next plans for Seth? So he goes to this strip club. That strip club scene was actually filmed in the clubhouse in Dallas, Texas. But yeah, so that movie was actually in Texas, the setting, in my opinion. Yeah, so they go to the strip club scene, and Van Damme goes to this bodyguard, security guard punches the guy, he punches the guy with a head. he goes in the room, on the computer, and he see those showgirls. He says, "I'll be quick," and one of the girls says, "Yeah, that's everyone says." He goes to the computer, and a few security guys shows up, and then I goes out. I'm just gonna leave, no fight. And the guy tries to kick his ass. When that goes kicks the ass. Oh my god, the striptease club scene. Then when Erin shows up at the bar, there's this girl shows up and starts hitting her, like she's a lesbian. And Erin tells her the story of her life, and she's like, wow. And there's a fight scenes. I was laughing my ass off. Van Damme kicks everyone, even Erin helps. Van Damme grabs a glass and punches the guy in the face. The fight scenes are awesome in this movie. The strip club is awesome in this movie, man. It was awesome. I was laughing my hands off. The strip club spy scenes are awesome in my opinion. That was badass in this film. Oh my god, that was a badass. I really had fun with this film. So yeah, Van Damme and Erin, they now showed up. This guy quit. And Van Damme tries to stop him, but Michael J. White, shows up, break his neck, and then of course through the monitor, Luke sees the sets now in the hospital, and he tries to get to his daughter Hillary. So Erin and Luke are now taking a motorcycle. That is a badass. I love the nice scenes, in the motorcycle. They go with the motorcycle and they try, they go to the hospital. There's a few scenes in the hospital. Bill Goldberg fights this bad guys, these security guards, like 3 security guards. He beats all of them, they're all strong. He beats all of them. And and of course he tries to attack Luke. Luke goes, jumps in the elevator, kicks his butt, and the elevator doors close, and Bill Goldberg says, "Say by the bell, the rule." I love that. Say by the bell, the rule. I love that, and Van Damme goes, finds out the room for Hillary, breaks the door, and there's a fire, and Seth takes her. So now Erin and Luke, they go back to the facility, and with other soldiers, they actually go back in the facility while the rest of the soldiers kill the rest of the soldiers. So they go to the facility, and Van Damme gets M16, says, if I fire them with this, they're just gonna get anger. So he gets the rocket launcher, which is a badass, M16 Colt with rocket launcher. And he goes with the rest of the soldiers in the facility, and there's a few fight scenes, and Van Damme blows some guy, with a grenade launcher to pieces. And he finds out there's also Maggie's now turned into a cyborg, into Unisoul, so he fires her, and Van Damme goes back, tries to save the little girl. He goes and tries his daughter Hillary, because she's now on this bed, because while Seth is looking for the coat, and Luke only knows the coat, but he cracks down the coat, because he wants to crack down the coat. And there's a fight scenes, and when the coat is now cracked down, so that Seth can leave. There's a fight scenes, and Van Damme and Michael J. White did an excellent fight scenes. I think they're well done. I think it was still practical done. The fight scenes are well done. Van Damme still used a spin kick, in the chest, in the head, and he freezes the guy, in the end he freezes the guy. He goes, with his 6-degree spin kick in the face. Just like in Demolition Man, and when Stallone goes and kicks Snipes' head when he's frozen, heads up, and he goes, breaks his head. In this movie, Van Damme goes and kicks, makes a 360 kick, and he gets blown to pieces. He kills Seth, and now because General Redford put all the plastic device, Van Damme has only 15 minutes. and he saves the little girl. Van Damme goes and saves the little girl, but gets attacked by Bill Goldberg, and I love the fight scene between Bill Goldberg and Van Damme. Van Damme still goes kick his ass, he goes and kicks his ass. He actually goes there and he kicks his ass. And Bill Goldberg grabs him, he holds him around his head, and Maggie shows up with a gun. Maggie then shows up with a gun, with a gun. Instead, she fires him, and Luke, she says it's too late, so Luke goes in, grabs a rifle, and when they try to blow the facility, they can't, when Erin says, she has a punches the general for it, but they try to blow up, I can't. And the girl escapes, the young girl, Hillary escapes, and Van Damme goes, fires the detonator launcher and there's a huge explosion, and on the end, Van Damme, and young girl is alive, she survives, hugs her as Erin shows up, and the movie ends, and Van Damme gets a new girlfriend, since his wife is actually died, he gets a new girlfriend. And I forgot to mention, but this movie also has a metal bands that actually, when there's a gunfights, there's actually played the songs for metal bands. One of them that I love is Megadeth. I love Megadeth, Mr. Nice Guy. Mr. Nice Guy by Shocker. I love that song, Megadeth. Crush 'Em for Bill Goldberg. I love Crush 'Em. Or Static X, Bleed for Days. I mean, it has such a metal songs. There's practical done explosions, great fight scenes, bow chasers, fight scenes in the club, in the striptease club. I just love this film, man. I love this film. It's actually a big budget, but it was a box office a failure, a completely bomb. But I don't get what the fuck is the problem in this film. Oh, he has a kid, so what? It never bothered me. I don't care if he has a daughter. I like that the film is fun, that Van Damme is more, that still cares, that he doesn't want like a fucking stone cold bloody zombie like in Regeneration and the other film Days of Reckoning. He's like 7 minutes in that fucking film, but he's a fucking zombie. He's a fucking Kurtz from Apocalypse Now. I hated that film. This is the last time we ever see Luke Devereaux smiling. It's the last time that we'll see a bit more human, have involved with this film. The fight scenes are actually done. There are a few stunt doubles for some dangerous stunts, when Van Damme was like running, which that was kind of dangerous, that was a stunt double, but the fight scenes mostly was Van Damme in it. And he tried to do, because he screwed up with Street Fighter, he screwed up with sudden death, maybe because he was on cocaine, or maybe he didn't want to do any fight scenes, who knows, the Quest sucked, was a rip-off of Bloodsport, but he tried to do with this film, he really tried to do. And Van Damme had a strict policy not to do any sequels. He broke that rule and he did this movie, and this movie got crap, got panned and mauled by negative reviews and critics, I mean, I don't get it. I think it's a fun, kick-ass, underrated action film. I think it's one of the most underrated JCVD flicks of all time. The most underrated. And like I said, I prefer this movie over Double Team. I think it's better than Double Team. Why? 1 hour 23 minutes. Goes fast paced around. I was not bored. I really had fun with this film. It went go fast around. The fight scenes, the action scenes, the explosions. Bill Goldberg, still great performance by Bill Goldberg. Van Damme's great performance, And Michael J. White was fantastic. I mean, I think Van Damme and Michael J. White are nice guys, and I think they're really good people. And I think they did 100% of their own, with the fights. I did not see any stand doubles for Michael J. White. I think they both did great job. I think this movie, I think this movie's underrated JCVD flick, the most one, I think it's much better than The Quest. I think it's much better than Legionnaire. I think it's much better than Inferno, aka Desert Heat, or even or even Assassination Games. Or even the next kickboxer films, Vengeance, and that piece of garbage movie, piece of shit movie, what was already called Redemption, something like that, or that shittiest movie, I think was that shittiest movie, which when Damme was in that prison, he was like a mentor to this guy. Forgot that piece of shit movie. I hated it so much. I don't remember that garbage direct-to-video movie, which he was the main role. He was like in prison teaching this guy martial arts. That movie was outrageous garbage. Better than Assassination Games, definitely better than Double Team or Knockoff, in my opinion. Just my opinion, because I had fun. I really had fun. Van Damme had blessed doing this film, and he still tried to do this film. He still tried to do his own stunts. He tried to do his own fight scenes, and that's what he did was correctly. And I think that the actress who played Erin Young, Heidi Chance, the news reporter, still did a good job. I think the cast did a good job. I think that Bill Goldberg and Xiana Tom did a great job. I love the boat chase scene. I love in the woods looked like a horror film. The open scene, I like that. I like the fight scenes. I like when the metal band is singing during gunfights. Like Megadeth, Crash Em, or Static X, Bled for Days. I love that they put the metal songs in this film, because the first one doesn't have that. I still think that Mick Rogers did a good job. I think this movie is underrated, unfairly criticized by haters. I think the first one is a classic, and I still consider Stand Up Alone, but this is the only one that I think is the best of the sequels. And yeah, Regeneration and the other movie, Days of Reckoning, they ignored this film. This movie also ignored those two sequels made for television. Universal Soldier 2, Brothers in Arms, and the third sequel I think was Universal Soldier Unfinished Business. This movie ignored them. So when Damme did return as Luke Devereaux, yeah, it isn't like he isn't a zombie like he was in the first movie, but so what? He still smiles. He still tries to do a human. Tries to do more. He still smiles. He tries to do more human characters. More likable characters. Like when Van Damme gets angry on set, you kill Dylan, and I love that he cares. That's what he did in Maximum Risk. He cared. Van Damme still cares in this movie. But the next movies, he was all dead zombie. He walked like a dead zombie in all the next movies. The last one that he was smiling was The Order, which I'm gonna review next, because I love that film, because it's my favorite of direct-to-DVD films that he did. But I think The Return is actually very underrated, kick-ass, fun film. Don't expect that much, but it's still a good movie. It's still like, I would say, the last good movie of the 90s, the last one. Better than Inferno, in my opinion, better than Inferno. And I saw Inferno, aka Desert Heat on VHS, but I refused to buy it. When I watched the movie, I was so disappointed the first time, so I did not buy it. I only had Bloodsport Maximum Risk on VHS. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I love that it's fast-paced. the action sequences, the fight scenes. I mean, I think this is a really underrated flick, but a lot of people will definitely disagree because they like the next sequels more, Regeneration, or that film Days of Reckoning, in which what they did to Luke Devereaux, my favorite character. He's 7 minutes in the film, and then he gets killed. He gets killed for a shitty way. It just doesn't look right in my opinion, He gets killed by Scott Adkins. I hated that, And I know Scott Adkins has a respect to Van Damme, but I'm not happy about it. What they did to Luke Devereaux in Days of Reckoning, I'm not happy with that, But anyway, that's my movie review on Universal Soldier: The Return, 1999. I hope you enjoyed the review. Stay tuned for the next review, which I'm gonna talk about when I finish the Van Damme series that I do in the collection. I will also then review Universal Soldier 2, Brothers in Arms. Yes, I will, and of course the next two sequels, Regeneration, Days of Reckoning. Have a good day. Have a fun Easter. Yeah, I forgot, but have a fun Easter. And I'll talk to you and see you in the next review, The Order. I'm out. Peace.